Now, I'm not sure, were you here when the doors first opened? When was it? Patrick's Day?
Patrick's Day 62. I certainly wasn't. So, as I was saying, it was, my parents bought the house in 1961. It was Glenard House, and Galway, all the area behind us is Glenard Crescent, and that area is called Glenard, so the property would have been almost gone down as far as Daly's Road.
Right.
So my parents bought it in 61, opened as an 18-bedroom hotel in 62. I remember the story being told where my mother was pregnant with my elder sister, and she was driving up to Arklow to buy Arklow crockery.
Oh, wow.
At the time, and it was very unique. And the hotel industry back then was very different in that it was silver service. It was engraved, cups and saucers and everything branded as in the Ardilaun Hotel as it was back then. So obviously it's changed over the years. We've grown up to now we're a 123-bedroom hotel of varying styles and rooms, which is always a challenge as you grow organically. But over the years, it expanded in 68 was the first extension. So there was 12 extra rooms. And then in 72 more rooms were built, 79 the restaurant and more rooms were built. And then we did a big development in 85. And in 1990 we opened the ballroom, and we've extended that. We built the leisure club. That was my first major project. I arrived here in December 95. So the first major project I did was build a leisure club.
I'd say that was a fairly interesting experience.
It was a very interesting experience. And thankfully, everybody told me that would add to the marketing, I suppose, the hotel.
Yeah.
And it would never sustain itself, and it would always just be supporting. I'm thrilled to say that it's self-sustaining, and always has been as a club. And then 2006 we built another 36 bedrooms. And the timing wasn't great. In 2008 we refurbed the oldest bedroom block, and that's part of what we do. We've continuously refurbed, and so we've been here, been through the challenges of the crash and of COVID and everything, but we've sustained the business, and it's doing very, very well.
Yeah.
So
and tell me, because you just intrigued me there about the change of name. What was the Ardilaun, and where did that come from? What's the brand about?
So the Ardilaun is a lot of people would ask me, did the Guinness family own this? Because Arthur Guinness is Lord Ardilaun. Okay. So the name came...
So you say yes, they did.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's my uncle.
I wish. So Lord Ardilaun owned Ashford Castle, and my dad's favourite fishing ground was Ardilaun, which is Irish for High Island.
Okay.
And that's up just off Ashford Castle, and that's where Lord Ardilaun took his name from, Ardilaun.
Okay.
So when the hotel was being named, my dad's favourite, and he was a lover of Irish anyway, favourite fishing club was Ardilaun, and his other logic behind it was that back in the good old days, in the phone book or the yellow pages, we'd be the first hotel at top of the hotels in Galway with an A.
That's very clever. And that actually still, even on when you're scrolling the net today, sometimes the A's, I've noticed that on platforms like if it was like searching for a number of different hotels, some of them still are alphabetical. So he was a very wise man
Absolutely,
fairness.
yeah. So I was very lucky. Really, my uncle Tom opened the hotel. He was a hotel manager. My mother's brother,
Yeah.
and then in I think in '69, a gentleman by the name of Tom McCarthy O'Hay, 67 actually, I think. Tom McCarthy O'Hay came here. He was a Cork man working in London, and he ran the operation as general manager of the hotel for 35 years up until 2002. So that consistency of presence has been, I suppose, very unique
Yes,
in our business,
absolutely,
and
yeah.
we've thankfully managed to. I've been working here since almost 30 years actually, and that consistency of presence, not only with myself and Maggie, my wife, but with the team here. There's been a real consistency of presence of staffing and familiarity with the customers has been a hugely important thing to us, and that's one of our unique selling points, is that we still have that.
Yes,
You know?
yeah. And that kind of leads into, I suppose, what the brand is all about as well in terms of the personal experience.
Yeah, and that's that welcome, and even from like I would have this that when someone arrives in a hotel, the greeting at check-in is almost the most important thing, you know, because if that happens seamlessly and that goes well and
Yes.
people feel welcomed,
Yes.
then by and large people will really enjoy their stay.
Yeah. A good
I do
start.
enjoy that. And when the funny thing, if something does go wrong, because they've had a very good welcome, you know, you can retrieve it quite easily,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But generally, if they have a very good welcome, as I call our shop front,
Yeah.
people will enjoy their stay.
Yes.
You know, they
Yeah.
feel welcomed and kind of creates a belonging.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it, you know.
Sets the tone. For
And that
their stay.
comes back to, as I was saying, as a independent, one of the last independent hotels in Galway. That's unique for us, and that's what makes the difference for us. I think, you know, that we can deliver on that, and I can't do that myself. That's impossible.
Yes.
And the team do that, and they do a great job of doing that, you know. And of course the team changed, but they're quite immersed in delivering that kind of philosophy or that brand, as you say, you know.
Yeah.
So
And I suppose so much, I mean, it's so important now, you know, and that the kind of personalization, it comes across in all areas of marketing even.
Yeah.
You know, that people want to be treated as individuals and they want to have a unique experience.
Absolutely.
And I suppose it is a great opportunity as an independent hotelier to have the flexibility to deliver that.
And I think it's proven in the point that the level of repeat business we have is fantastic. The level of family occasions that we have here from Galway, or from people celebrating their 50th or their 40th wedding anniversary, or their 50th or 60th birthday party, or their 40th birthday party. The room we're sitting in here is unique in that people love to have a family get together here, and people will say to us, you know, I meet people all the time. They've had their christenings, their communions, their confirmations, their birthday parties, their weddings, their family get-togethers, and that's continuously happening. So that's kind of, we have a very loyal local business, and people and families from all over Ireland will return. And even recently, we had an American family come back to us, and they'd been here 15 years ago for another family get-together. You know, so we do an awful lot of business in that way. You know,
I always think that's a real sign of success for a hotel. I mean, it's one thing to have, you know, people come once and enjoy, but you know, you don't see them again. But to have local support, I think it's kind of where your local community almost has a bit of ownership of the property. You know, it's their family hotel.
Absolutely. And there was as the gentleman who was manager for many, many years said once to me, a sale isn't a sale until it's a resale.
Another wise man.
You know, so.
And it's so true, I suppose, you know, the focus so much in sales and marketing is about getting the new sale. And it's the hardest sale to ever get. It's keeping your customers that you have already is
this, and that's what we try very hard. And, you know, and if you get the soft opening, especially, a lot of those people will give you a soft opening and say, and all you have to do is ask the question, would you mind introducing me to, you know, Lisa?
Yeah.
And once that's done, it's not a cold call anymore. It's not a hard sale. It's a conversation. And from those conversations comes, you know, can come a lot of things.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and it breeds, it opens the door. So that's something we work very, very hard on, is that, hello, how are you? And people will refer to you, business or events to you very quickly that way, you know.
And that's a real skill now as well. I mean, I think it probably comes very naturally to you and your team, but I think into the future, that kind of making that human connection is going to be a challenge to the next generation. So it's something, you know, if you can foster here, it's like it probably for a young person working here, it's probably an education in itself.
Absolutely, because you can't. I mean, we have a very good business here, but you can't stand still. Understand? You have to look to the future all the time and see where you're going to continue developing and where you're going to continue growing. Because I mean, June is almost now history.
Yes.
You know, there's nothing you can do about this June.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn from what you've done very well. You can learn from what you've done wrong, but you have to know where is the business going to keep on coming from. So you have to be looking forward, seeing how you're going to develop new strategies and new approaches, how to keep on growing the business. And that's where I am at the moment, is looking at, you know, how we're going to keep on growing the business.
Yes.
Because as a property, there's we're probably we are as big as we're ever going to be, because for all sorts of different reasons. But we have to still grow the business and still develop the business and add to the business, and not from a size point of view, but from a product point of view and a refurbishment point of view and a customer service point of view and from a staff retention point of view. So that's where we're looking to keep on growing the business. And like, growing the business isn't always about growing sales.
Yes.
It's about growing your community, as in your the people you work with, and developing them, so our retention keeps on going. And I get great pleasure out of seeing young people develop.
Yes.
It's fantastic when you see them move on and they grow into better positions, and they come back and they say, you know, my career started here.
Yes. Yeah.
So I love hearing that.
Yeah. So where you learn the kind of interpersonal skills, life skills, isn't it?
I meet so many people that say, I worked in the Ardilaun, you know, and they might be a doctor or they might be something like that, but lots of people's jobs started here as a porter or a kitchen porter or a bar or a restaurant or banqueting, you know, and life skills are learned.
And they're all ambassadors for you, of course. You know, sometimes we forget that in the industry, that our staff are they're out there across the world. Yeah. I suppose, just in terms of, I think I probably could answer this question for you now, having spoken to you for a little bit, but what matters most to you in terms of how do you measure success for the hotel? What is success for the Ardilaun?
Well, I suppose success is measured in many ways. Obviously, financially, it's hugely important to have a very good sales pipeline and to be profitable, and that helps us reinvest in the business, not only in the property and growing it, but in our staff and our staff development. I mean, staff retention and satisfaction is a huge thing, because if you can retain your staff, it's much easier to grow and develop people you have working with you, as opposed to going out to find new people. So that success for us is not just financial, but it's quality, it's employee retention, it's customer satisfaction. And for me, growing the business is new projects, developing new projects, seeing new strategies being successful. There's all sorts of different strands, not just, it's easy to say it's all about the bottom line, which is hugely important, because you have to be generate the income to be able to grow the business. But it's all the moving parts. I mean, even the development of our gardens, which we rediscovered really during COVID.
Yeah.
That to me is just a phenomenal new success for us. You know, and the feedback is just tremendous. People are now coming going, wow. Yeah. You know, so I have to thank COVID for that, because we had nothing else to do.
Yeah, yeah. You know? Like everyone, they ended up doing gardening. You had a slightly bigger garden though than other places.
So it's about, and you know, success to me is about returning guests as well. You know, so there's all just different versions of success. You know?
And your definition of growth is lovely as well. You know, that it's growing every part of the business, not just the bottom line. That's the baseline, isn't it? And then from that, then you have the ability to invest in so many.
And you can't you can't achieve that baseline without all those other moving parts.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so it's a kind of big picture. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what if you had to kind of distill down your brand values, the Ardilaun's brand values, what would they be?
I think I'd start with.
Can I ask just a question before I ask you that? Have you got your brand values kind of written down on paper, or is it just something that's natural, that is part of the business?
Both.
Right.
It's
good answer.
Yeah, it's ever evolving. But family would be, I would think, would be a word we would use a lot. Right. You know, it's home from home, and we would. You have to modernise and keep on developing and growing, but our brand is that we are, we're in a family-run business, which is starting to become more and more unique. We are in a 4-star hotel in a city, but in a very calm space. Yes. You know, our brand is that we are, even if you look at this, for the Galway races, we say we're an oasis in the races. You know. So it's family driven, that welcoming, that that you will always be. It's an open door, and that goes to our staffing too. In that we have an open door policy, and we tell people, the people we work with, don't never be afraid. There's an open door. You can come and speak to me anytime. You know. Which sometimes you kind of go, oh. Yes. But that's it. It's just that family-run business, and that we're here for the customer.
And how is being a family-run business? How does that impact how you do business? I suppose, but as you mentioned earlier, there's one of the last independent hotels in Galway. How does that make your business strategy different, do you think, to your local competitors, if you like?
I think it makes it more personal. There's a very personal part of it. Like it's not a job. It's the word is, the other one's kind of a vocation, right? It is, and it's not. It hasn't been just a vocation for me, but for a lot of people who've worked here, and that's I suppose they really believe in it, and so that's what drives us. That we are with the customer, for the whole journey.
Yes.
And that's how we kind of believe it, and that kind of shapes the relationships we build with our customers.
And the journey sometimes can be a lifetime, like you were saying. There's the christening, right through to the graduation, to the marriage.
And to the, we do, and we're almost like from the cradle to the grave.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's the home away from home.
Yeah, the home away from home.
If your home isn't big enough, where are you going to host people? We'll just go to the Ardilaun.
Yeah.
Very good. And tell us, as an independent hotel, I think you've got probably a much more long-term strategy, as in you're in this for the long game. It's not about, we're going to do some tactical stuff now to fill rooms. You're here to have repeat customers, repeat business. And part of being independent is that, like you mentioned earlier, you can't do it all yourself. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe over the years how you've developed the business and formed strategic partnerships to help you manage the business?
Just when you use the word tactical, there's always going to be a time where you have to do tactical stuff, because I'd love to say you didn't have to, but you have to do some stuff. So as an independent hotel, you have to have relationships over the years. So we would have always had an external marketing relationship with different marketing groups over the years, who helped us like open markets, whether it be in the UK, in the United States, or customer shows here in Ireland, which you would, from a cost point of view, you wouldn't be able to get those markets, but they introduced us and been part of groups or conferencing groups who bring business to us, or will open the doors for us. So from a marketing point of view, then, like for instance, our relationship with Arrow is something that's it's almost 2 years old now. That was a very we decided that we had to change, because do something new, and by bringing, like for instance, Arrow on board, that's made a substantial difference to how we're doing our business, because I knew we had to do something new and different, and if you're not changing some of your relationships all the time, not all the time, you're not going to grow. Yeah, it's a massively competitive market, and hotel groups have a much greater advantage being able to getting their brand out there. They have economies of scale. Absolutely. So we need relationships to help us do that. And it's like the relationship with Arrow is a very important relationship and has helped us grow. Relationship with tour operators that we've developed over the years. Relationship with social media marketeers, all those type of things. Because as an independent hotel, you couldn't do it. You can't do it on your own, and you can't. It's ever evolving from all the technology. Absolutely. We don't have the capacity, so we need those relationships to be able to grow and bring us new ideas. Bring us ideas that we wouldn't even think of. Did you ever think of doing this? Let's give that a go.
And it gives you the opportunity, I suppose, as well, to focus on your core business.
Yeah.
Because you could get very distracted down many technical rabbit holes, I suppose.
You could, and technology is it's not just about sales, there's a huge amount of technology involved in running a business, from the amount of interfaces we have, from our front office system to our point of sale system to our CCTV system to our health and safety system to our food management system to our purchasing system to the leisure club membership management system. I could keep on going.
Yes,
Our technology is and it's ever evolving and ever efficient. You can't even believe. You think the iPhone was only invented and was first launched in 2007.
Yeah, that actually feels like it's always been here, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
And
Like the Ardilaun.
and it's going to keep on developing and growing, and we need that support from outside sources because we couldn't do it ourselves.
Yeah. And I suppose you've kind of answered the next question is like, how do you maintain relevance in the market in a an ever evolving market? How do you stay that step ahead?
Well, I suppose looking at your customer reviews, we use a review system it's literally, I suppose, scrapes every review that we get. Learning from what the customer is telling you, or what they want, or what they're looking for, that's important to them, and responding to them and letting them know that their opinions are important. That's how you stay ahead, or you learn what people want and what they're looking for. That relates to employees and employee surveys as well. What's important to people.
Yeah.
And knowing what's important to people helps you adjust your strategy or adjust what you're doing there, because sometimes you might think this is fantastic, but it's not really resonating with anybody except you.
Yes.
And sometimes learning what you're doing wrong is as important as what you're doing right.
Yes.
So and not being and don't get offended because people don't think you're great at times. But just and learn from it. So
be open to that feedback.
Absolutely, yeah. This is difficult sometimes. But it's good, yeah.
And tell me, obviously the way the hotel industry has changed over the years. So did you say nearly 30 years in the hotel industry?
Next year it'll be 30 years, yeah.
So what have been the major steps forward, would you say, in terms of the business and how it helps you to run the business today? If you think back to 30 years ago when you first took over here.
It's like building the leisure club was a huge thing for us, and it was a huge investment. But that was the most relevant thing at the time. As you said, technology, Wi-Fi is like. I remember you'd have your bedroom directory, and big thing was like 30 years a direct dial phone. Right?
Yes.
Now you still go into hotels now. It says direct dial phone. I mean, now you probably don't even need a telephone in the bedroom.
Yes.
Because even saying where Wi-Fi, you said, oh, we have Wi-Fi. No, that's not even relevant anymore, because if you don't have Wi-Fi, you're not relevant.
Yes.
Being able to communicate with people has changed utterly. The customer being able to review you has changed utterly.
Yes.
They're making decisions on all sorts of different platforms, and for all sorts of different reasons. So having to manage your profile on the internet is a massive thing now.
Yes.
And being able to show yourself, because people are making decisions for all sorts of different reasons and viewing you in a different way now.
Yes.
So that's a huge big change. I suppose modernising the hotel. I mean, if you think this hotel when it opened, it didn't have any ensuite bathrooms. Can you imagine if you went into and you didn't have an ensuite room?
Yes.
You know, and you know, and that was a huge development, making sure every bedroom was en suite. Things like smart televisions are expected now.
Yes.
You know, have your Netflix in the room. You
Yeah.
know, and they're all expected. You know, service. I think the quality of service things that hasn't changed that much. If you're not delivering good quality service anyway, and
Yes.
it's you're hiding to nothing.
Yeah.
We used to be a very classical hotel. In some ways, we're kind of still. We're not classical anymore, but we're still kind of a mix of modern and tradition. But people's expectations, their tastes in food, their tastes in wine, in drinks, has changed completely. I mean, we're now in an era of the cocktail culture.
Yes.
And that wasn't there 10 years ago. You know, people's taste in wine has grown. People are much more educated about food now. They want to taste different things. They want a variety of different experiences, and you have to kind of. And so in your menu management, you're trying to do something different all the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Because people, and yet. We have a whole market that wants just that tradition.
Yeah.
So we're trying to juggle things.
Balance.
So it's people's taste. I mean, it's a big thing. People's taste, and I would hear from a lot of people. I mean, I don't expect to be liked by everybody because you can't be. You can't be. And not everybody loves the Ardilaun, right?
Yeah.
Our decor or our feel, you know, and that's okay too.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
because you can't. You'd love to be loved by everybody.
Yeah.
You know, people have different tastes.
Yeah.
And you know, but as long as you're listening to them and learning from them, and if someone makes a suggestion that you can take it on board, that's the important part. The level of information that's available to you now is just unbelievable.
Yes.
You're getting information from left, right, and centre that wasn't even there 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, but being relevant, current, modern, and yet having a traditional value is where I think it's where we are now.
That's
you
your
know,
niche.
yeah. So it's working, thankfully.
And tell me,
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, you did beautifully. In terms of, I suppose, just the booking process for your customers, how has that changed over the years?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, we didn't have, when I started here, we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
We didn't have any online bookings. We didn't have websites. So there's a huge amount of the booking that you love the most is when people book with you directly.
Yes.
Or on your own website. And Arrow now they have really upped the game for us on our ability to get business directly to us, right? The phone still rings, people still call you, but then there's the other side of it, which are that's a real challenge in managing the online booking systems. Any of those online travel agents, they're a huge part of people's way of booking businesses now.
Yes.
Or booking, right? And I would say to people, they've booked an online travel agency, and I said, why didn't you book with us direct? Because the OTAs make it so easy for people now. You know, that's the easiest way for a lot of people to book. So our challenge is to stop them from doing that and book with us directly. Yeah. You're not going to achieve all that. That's not achievable 100%, but it's a process. So people still use phones, they book online, the mobile phone now is it's just growing. You know, people using their mobile phone to book.
Yes.
You know, and so your website, you have to be mobile friendly as well as computer friendly. So there's all sorts of different
challenges
there.
Yeah.
So, and that's why you need you have to have the collaboration with your outside supporters, like Arrow, who can help us do that.
Yes.
And you know, but you're still phoning people, you're still asking people for business directly and saying, and sometimes you just have to say, you meet somebody and say, listen, any chance you give us a bit of business?
Yeah.
And I go, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
You know,
it just goes back to the human connection again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose, you know, your family have been running this hotel for, is it 6 decades?
Yeah.
So, and your own experience here, like, what would be the major lessons that you've learned from your time being a part of this family business, the Ardilaun?
Yeah, constant change, constant learning, constant improvement. Never stand still. Listen to your customer, listen to your employees. Try to stay relevant, but still be true to your own values.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's what still makes us unique, because the competition will keep on coming at you. But if you have to be true to yourself, but you know, develop and grow and change around. But I remember when we were renovating, it was 2006, and we put on a big extension, the lobby, and you can actually see how we've changed over the years, because you can see how the lobby has stepped out and grown. But an awful lot of people said to me, please don't change.
Yeah.
You know, please don't change what you have here.
Yes.
You know, and yet you have to change.
Yes.
You know, because people's opinions and or people's tastes change. So, and what's, you know, like this room here used to be, it's a beautiful room, but it used to swags and it used to be very, very traditional.
Yes.
And you look at the wallpaper behind you now, it's not traditional, but it's still a very traditional room.
Yes.
But it's got a slightly modern taste.
Yes.
So that's what but never stand still, because if you stand still, you're going backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to and keep on learning from people and listen to people. Listen to people and value their opinions, even if you don't think they're right.
Yes, yeah. Listening is a key skill, I think, isn't it? You know.
And to remain relevant, you have to remain relevant. So,
and that's adapting.
It's adapting and growing and changing what you have. You know.
Yeah. And what keeps you motivated to do that?
I just love seeing the business. My role, you know, is kind of changing now. My role is to put about the development and that we are continuing to grow. Looking at the strategies for the hotel, where we're going to go into the future. But it's been part of this. I mean, I love this business. It's part of my heart and soul.
Yeah.
But that's what keeps me going. That's what gets me up in the morning, to see it thrive and to see, you know, people enjoying themselves. See people, not just the customers, but the people who work here, seeing them, you know, grow and develop.
Yeah.
So that's it's a very personal thing. You know, so.
A vocation again,
Yeah.
as you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's lovely. And tell us, for the future, what does the future hold for the Ardilaun?
I suppose continue developing the product. I mean, subtle changes. You saw, I don't know if you remember, doing the lodge, which is going to be very unique. That lodge was built in 1880. It's a very unique building, so we're developing that and growing that. Sustainability is a huge part of our future. We're putting in a big solar panel project at the moment. We have our 10 beehives. We've getting rid of as much plastic out of the business, so we're hoping to be as close to a net zero business by 2030.
Very good.
I'm not sure if that's achievable, but we're working towards it.
The will is there.
The will is there, but to see it to prosper, embrace new technologies, and every year we're upgrading bedrooms all the time. We're looking at different designs of doing stuff. We're actually looking how we can make our like our restaurant got a big makeover after COVID. Now we're going back there to see how we can soften it.
Right.
Because people's tastes in food, like our bistro, is just flying. Because
Right.
people, the casual eating is just so popular
Yes.
now, right? And people want just casual. So all of a sudden our restaurant, which is more traditional, we have to see how we can maybe make it more relevant and more welcoming, so people will use that more.
Yes.
And so you're always looking at different ways of doing stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so
And balancing, keeping
yeah,
your loyal customers who love what you've always done happy,
Yeah.
while
yeah.
I suppose attracting a new audience.
A new
as
audience,
well.
yeah, that's exactly it. Like last night we had a barbecue for 80 outside, which was fantastic, and they still sat out. We had enough covering; they still sat out in the drizzle.
Yeah. Yes.
So there's all sorts of different aspects to it. Like the wedding market, for instance, is a very, very competitive market now, and tastes are changing there. And we have a beautiful ballroom. I even think it's one of the nicest ballrooms in Ireland. But you know, is that what people want? So you have to listen. You have to wonder what people want in the packages that we're given, or the menus we're given, or you know, what are people actually looking for now, and finding out that and keeping that development going, which will feed into the business continues to be a success.
Yes.
And that's what I want to say. I want to see the Ireland continue to be successful. You know?
And so, in terms of your customer, final question.
Okay.
In terms of your kind of ideal customer or ideal customers, what are they?
That's a very difficult question, because the customers are so varied in what they're looking for. The ideal customer for me is the customer who, when they're checking out, says to the receptionist they had a fantastic stay.
Because you know they're going to come back.
Yeah, that's the ideal customer. You know, it's and that's what you like. You like hearing. It's lovely to get the letters, and people still do write letters and saying thank you for the lovely family occasion, or the lovely experience, or I had a wonderful time.
Yeah, lovely.
And they tell you you've lived up to their expectations.
Yes.
You know, so there's the ideal customer. And I do have to say, I mean, working with Alan and Susie is great. I mean, it's made a big difference, and their ambition for us is fantastic.
Yes.
So you know, we didn't have that before from different alliances. So
yeah, and I think that comes down to possibly the independent family-owned element of Arrow as well.
Yeah.
You know, that it is actually growth for Arrow means growth for the clients.
Yeah.
You know, and it's everything that you have spoken about today is growth, not in terms of just but you know, growth of the overall business, and that's the underlying thing for what Arrow do is growth, you know, and if the clients aren't growing, then Arrow isn't growing, you know, so it's kind of like we need sustainable businesses to work with who want to grow and who want to invest and develop, you know. So
and you have to invest. So if you don't invest, you're not going to grow.
Yeah.
And investment takes all sorts of different shapes and forms. Yes. Like we're doing if you're doing electrical panels, or we're doing a new air handling unit next week for the leisure club. I mean, that's big investment. The customer doesn't see it or care for it, but you,
not one of the glamorous changes.
But if you don't put in the air handling unit that works, then all of a sudden, you know, the pool will overheat or will cool down, but they're big investments you're doing all the time that you have to keep on doing, you know. So.
And I've worked with this, Susie a little bit, I mean, over the years, and I just, her dedication, I have to say, to her clients it's personal, you know. I suppose it is personal.
And accessibility is a huge thing, and she's accessible, and you know, she'll respond to you, and if we have concerns, they'll be taken seriously, you know.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It's all about, I suppose, it comes back to people, doesn't it? Finding the right fit
relationships.
For you. Yeah.
And you get all these reports, and sometimes I go, like, well, I'm an oldie now, and I'd be looking at it going, what does that mean? But anyway, it's working.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing as well. And you know, sometimes you don't even need to look at the reports if you're growing.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you need to? You don't need to wonder about what that tiny metric means there. As long as you trust your partner, isn't it? If you trust that they're doing the work for you,
absolutely.
Then you don't have to go mining into the minute detail.
Yes.
So thank you so much.
My pleasure, and I hope that works. I hope that works for you.